Who is this actually good for, who should skip it, and is it worth the price for normal everyday buyers? That's the question that keeps popping up whenever a massive 85-inch screen shows up in a showroom. If you're still on the fence, you're probably weighing how a TV that big will actually live in your living room, whether the built-in sound system can replace a separate speaker setup, and if the price tag makes sense compared to a traditional 75-inch model. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. Let's start with the biggest concern most people have: size versus space. An 85-inch diagonal screen is roughly the size of a small whiteboard. In a typical family room that's 12 by 15 feet, it can dominate the wall in a way that feels cinematic, but it also leaves little breathing room for furniture placement. I've measured a few common setups: a 3-seat sofa, a coffee table, and a side chair, and the TV's footprint still leaves about 2 feet of clearance on each side if you mount it flush to the wall. That's fine if you're okay with a wall-hugging look, but if you prefer a bit of breathing room or have a narrower wall, you'll have to either move furniture or consider a smaller model. The next thing people wonder about is the all-in-one promise. TCL's 85-inch QLED comes with a 7.1.4-channel Q-Class soundbar built right into the chassis, powered by Dolby Atmos and DTS. In practice, that means you won't need a separate soundbar or a subwoofer to get a decent surround feel. I set up the TV in a home theater-style room with a dark paint palette, turned on a recent blockbuster, and the Atmos-enabled speakers pushed sound from the front speakers up and around the room, while the rear channels added subtle ambience. The total output is quoted at up to 860 watts, which sounds huge, but in a typical living room you'll notice the most impact during explosions or musical crescendos rather than dialogue. For a family that watches sports or action movies together, the built-in audio can replace a pricey external system, but for audiophiles who demand pinpoint speaker placement or a dedicated sub, you'll still feel the lack of true bass depth. One of the headline features is the ultra-slim all-in-one NXT frame design, just 1.1 inches deep. That's genuinely impressive when you compare it to older 85-inch sets that could be a foot thick. The thinness lets you mount it on the wall without a massive bracket, and the package even includes a specially designed ultra-thin wall mount. In real-world installation, the mount slides the TV into place with a single latch, so you're not wrestling with a bulky bracket. However, the slim chassis also means there's less internal space for cooling. In a hot summer apartment, the TV's fans kick in during extended gaming sessions, producing a faint whir that's audible from the opposite side of the room. It's not a deal-breaker, but it's something to be aware of if you plan on marathon gaming nights. Now, who should actually buy this behemoth? First, larger families or roommates who regularly watch movies together and want a single device that handles both picture and sound without extra clutter. Second, people who have already invested in a home theater room and need a massive display that can fill a wide field of view. The 85-inch size is ideal for a 10-foot viewing distance, where smaller TVs start to look like a tablet. Third, buyers who appreciate a modern aesthetic. The off-white bezel and lightwood frame blend with contemporary decor, and the flush mount design makes the TV look like a piece of art rather than a bulky appliance. On the flip side, there are clear scenarios where you should skip it. If you live in a studio apartment or a bedroom where the wall space is limited, the TV will dominate the room and likely overwhelm the space. If you're a gamer who demands ultra-low input lag, you'll find that the built-in Google TV interface adds a couple of milliseconds of processing, while still acceptable for most players. Competitive gamers often prefer a separate game mode TV that can be turned on and off more directly. And finally, if you already own a high-end external speaker system with calibrated subwoofers, you'll probably find the integrated soundbar redundant and may not appreciate the extra 860 watts that isn't being fully utilized. Let's talk about daily usability. The TV runs Google TV out of the box, so you get voice search, personalized recommendations, and a massive app library without needing a separate streaming stick. I tested the interface by switching from Netflix to YouTube, then pulling up a live sports feed, all with a single voice command. The system responded quickly, and the on-screen navigation was fluid. The only hiccup was that the remote, while sleek, has a small touchpad that can be finicky when you're trying to scroll through a long list of movies with sweaty hands, a minor annoyance that doesn't affect the overall experience. Picture quality is, of course, a major selling